Hello everyone, my name is Sandeep Tripathi, founder of Advice Engineer Educational Services. Today we have an amazing guest for you who has published 5 international research papers during his undergraduate studies in BVD Engineering College, Lucknow. His main subject of research is about searching life on Mars. In the previous month, he was honored with Young Scientist Award by European Space Agency. So please welcome Mr. Shadab Khan on the show. So Mr. Khan, how are you? How's it going in France?
Right, things are going good. The winter has started in France, so you can expect temperatures going below 0 degrees centigrade sometimes.
First of all, congratulations to you for the honor you got from European Space Agency.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, I'm going for a conference in Netherlands next month in the week of December, first week. So there, actually, I submitted a paper, and my paper got accepted, and I was selected for the Young Scientist Award also from the European Space Agency.
Let's begin from Basti, your hometown in Uttar Pradesh. How you got interested in space-related activities? What inspired you for that?
Actually, I was interested in space science and in this area from the very childhood. I remember my first interest grew when I was in my fifth standard. And but when I moved later on to like further classes, my interest grew deeper when I used to see the pictures of planets and other informations that used to come in the newspaper that gave me a motivation to read about them. And I used to collect information, data, and even I used to like get the pictures framed and put it in my room. And when I moved, when I was in class 8th, then that Columbia disaster took place in which Kalpana Chawla lost her life. So I wrote a letter to NASA to express my views and what I am thinking, and you wouldn't believe it, I was a student in class 8 at that time in a small town of India, Basti.
Did NASA reply to you?
Yes, and NASA replied me, and I was surprised.
Did you perform some activities in your engineering college which helped you to convince your professors that you wanted to present a research paper in international conference?
Yes, actually, when I was in my when I was completing my second year, then I got information. Actually, my plan was that I wanted to write a book on planet Mars. So I was gathering information and then all the data, and then I wanted to write a book. So I sent my work to a lot of book publishing agencies in India, but nobody published it. So at the same time, yeah, so at the same time, I got information that a conference related to like space science, a big conference is going to happen. And before that, I went to IIT Bombay in February for a aerospace workshop there. So there I got a magazine. That was in February 2011. So that time I got the magazine, and in the magazine there was an article in which I got to know that a student from IIT Bombay went for some conference in South Korea for aerospace conference, and I was very motivated to see that. Then I went back to Lucknow, and then I thought to myself that if this student can go, then why can't I go? So I checked about that conference for which he went to South Korea in 2009, I suppose. Yes, in 2009. And then I checked that that conference is going to be held in September 2011 in South Africa. So I decided to submit my paper also for that conference, and I told my teachers also that I'm very interested and I'm planning to attend this also because I see a student from IIT Bombay has presented a paper in this conference in 2009 in South Korea. So why can't I do? I can also do that. So I
But it's not easy to convince professors and management that you wanted to do something extraordinary.
they were not so pleased, and they said you will go to South Africa, spend this much money and this and that. So instead of, I found that they they did not motivate me, but they were trying to discourage me. So, but I did not discourage to them because I knew what I have got to do. So I submitted my paper and my paper got accepted. And then I went to South Africa in 2000, September 2011 for International Astronautical Congress. That's the biggest conference in space in the world. So that was the launch pad for my career. That was the beginning for my career related activities in the field of aerospace. The professional, you can say.
So, what was your journey after graduation?
I completed my bachelor's in 2013, and then actually when I was in my undergraduate itself, I came to know about. I had met a lot of friends because before I completed my undergraduate, I had traveled two times to Japan, one time to China, one time to Italy, and one time to South Africa. So already I had 5 trips outside India in for these professional activities. And during that, I had met with many friends and many professors and a lot of people who are working in the industry, in the field of space science, in the field of aerospace. So, like, I had word with them and they encouraged me. They gave me the direction that I should pursue a master's, and then I applied for a Erasmus Mundus master's course in Germany, and that I studied a sandwich program in Germany, Sweden, and France in 2 years.
Yes, so the best part of attending conferences is networking.
Yes, that is the best thing. The best part of attending conferences, networking. You got to meet to people, and the people can play a very vital role for your career. I met one very reputed scientist from ISRO in a conference in South Africa. It was a very short meeting, but now that person is like my guide and my mentor. So ISRO. So that's how things work. When you go and attend a conference, when you meet, especially when you go out of India, and when you meet somebody from India there, like someone from ISRO or someone from any reputed organization. Yeah.
That becomes a personal connection.
Yeah, that becomes a personal connection because that person from India, when he goes outside India and when you meet him outside India, he gets motivated that yes, this student has come this far for this purpose. So it means that this student has some passion. So that person will be very interested to support if like the person is also like supportive and the student is also passionate to learn. So that's how things work.
Everyone faces challenges and struggles in their life. So, what struggles you faced in your journey?
Yes, the like when I was to go to South Africa, it was a big, big decision of my life that I had to choose. I was in a confusion: shall I go or not? Shall I go or not? Because nobody was giving me funds, and nobody was funding me. So there was no financial support from anybody. But my heart said, and my father also motivated that my son, you should go and attend it. And so it's still like we had to spend all the money from our own pocket, but that now I believe that that was more than worth to spend from our own pocket and go and attend that, because only because yeah, only because of going to that conference I got to achieve a lot of things. And I would like to tell you that I went 2 times to Japan and I did not have to pay a single penny from my pocket.
Were you got invited to Japan by United Nations?
Yeah, one time I got invited by the government of Japan, and one time I was invited by United Nations. So that was the best thing. You can't like in 1 year I had traveled 2 times to in within like 1 year I traveled 2 times to Japan and without any expenses. I did not have to pay any money.
Well, you have visited a lot of countries and attended conferences there. So, what does those people think about India and ISRO?
Or like the people from space agencies whom I have met, they have a very positive view. They see India as a very front runner in the field of space technology. They believe that India can go far, very far, because the limited resources India has, the limited fund India has, and still that India is doing great things. So I feel very proud when someone from French space agency, they talk, okay, India is achieving great. India is doing a lot of things. We are cooperating with them. We are conducting joint missions. So that feels great because you know that Indian space program is started on bullock carts, you know, like these days. So you know it's a challenging thing, but people have a very positive and you know good thought about Indian space program. Always in life you have to face challenges, you know. You can never achieve anything without facing problems, you know. When you achieve something great, there is a past, and the past is that you had faced a lot of difficulties, lot of problems, you know. And so that's the thing, you know. When I went to ISRO in 2013 to meet my guide, I spent 2 nights at the railway station in Trivandrum, you know, because at that time I was planning to save money because I had a lot of career objectives to do. So I thought if I could save for 2 nights here in Trivandrum, that will be worth for me. So you know, I spent 2 nights in sitting in the waiting hall in Trivandrum railway station, and I try to believe that if I am capable, if I have knowledge, if I have experience, I'm sure that these will not be the constraints to get the opportunity for myself.
Well, your main topic of research was always centered about finding life on Mars. So, could you give us an idea about Mars?
Yes, as you see that for the existence of life, water in liquid form is very essential. Until and unless we don't have water in liquid form, life cannot be sustained, you know, because all the activities in the human body that take place only when with the help of liquid water. For example, like if you consume something, like for example, to take something, all the molecules they travel in the liquid medium. So until and unless we are not able to find liquid water, scientists do believe that there is liquid water existed in the past on Mars, but it got evaporated. Everything got evaporated from the surface of Mars. So what scientists are now trying to do is they are trying to develop some systems, they are trying to develop some technologies in which they can utilize the resources on planet Mars. For example, they believe there is traces of oxygen available in the Martian environment, and as well as they wanted to develop some recyclable mechanism so that they can uh, you know generate oxygen, and once you are able to generate oxygen, that's the most important thing. Like you for example, like if you are able to generate some utilize some resources there, we can create colonies there, and inside they can grow plants, and you know once you are able to grow plants, then you can also do a lot of things.
Do you agree with Elon Musk that we should colonize Mars as an alternative if in case something bad happens to Earth?
Yes, of course, you know, I would like to give you one point. From the very beginning, if you go back like 1,000 years ago, it was always the curiosity of human to find out something new. You know, first of all, the human tried to find new on Earth. For example, you take example of Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus. That time, people were trying to find out, okay, we are living in Europe, so let's find some other place where human people are existing, if there is any other land. For example, Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus wanted to find out India, but by mistake he went to opposite, you know. So that's part, the part where he went is called West Indies, West India. Okay, so and now when humans have grown, now the technology has grown, we have very powerful telescopes, we have very powerful rockets, and we have advanced technologies to develop new systems. So the curiosity of human is to find out and explore outside Earth, because every night when somebody you, if you have been to your village and if you sleep in the open sky, and when you see up in the space, then you see the stars and the twinkling and the darkness of space. So you try to find it out, okay, what is this, what is that, you know.
Okay, so let's get back to India. Condition of engineering students are not good here. In a report, it was said that around 65% of engineers are unemployable. So, what do you think is the main reason behind it?
Actually, I would like to tell you the main issue behind that is that nowadays engineering colleges have become a mode of business. They are not imparting the correct education, they are not imparting the correct knowledge to the students that is required for them to be successful in the industry. For example, as an aeronautical engineer, it is very important for you to know softwares like CATIA, SolidWorks, ANSYS. These softwares are very important for you to learn. And I have seen that in nowhere in college, like nobody prepares the student or nobody teaches them or nobody encourages them that you should learn these softwares, or there are no activities, there is no activity, or there is no something related to that where a student has an opportunity to improve these skills. Because as an aeronautical engineer, it is very essential for you to know softwares, because aeronautical engineering is basically and mostly focused on softwares. Most of the part is focused on softwares, either related to design, either related to simulations, either related to analysis. So until and unless you don't know these things, it can be a big problem for you to find jobs, to become successful in the aerospace industry. So my suggestion will be for the students that once they go into their second year, they should try to put up their time. I see students when they come to fresh as engineering students in college, they spend first year because they have a pressure to clear first year. When they go into second year, they believe now it's the time to enjoy. So if you have an objective to do something after your graduations, after you finish your bachelor's, you have to prepare yourself to learn the things which is required to be successful in the industry. So rather than going for a movie 2 times in a month or 3 times in a month, people are not putting their time, people are not putting their money in to learn something. That is the most important thing. That's why when they go into their third year, when they go into their final year, you have to start to attend conferences, you have to go when you are in second year, because if you attend conferences and these things, it will help you to develop the networking. Once you have the networking, it will help you to get the opportunity related to summer training. For example, if you have to apply for some course, you can get the letter of recommendation from. For example, if you have a networking in ISRO, if you are doing an internship in ISRO, the letter of recommendation from ISRO will play an important role for your applications. So like this, there are a lot of opportunities. If I was a director of engineering institutions, I would have imparted all these things into the curriculum, into this thing, that to prepare the students from the very beginning.
And nobody is telling students about these things.
Yes, nobody is telling, because nowadays colleges are just busy in making money. Their plan is to make money from you. They did not open their, institution to impart the best education in you. Because you see, I studied from a college where there is not a single lab for aeronautical, but I got to achieve the things. I went to many countries, I got a lot of things. It's because my own efforts. It's not because of the effort of the institution.
It's not that students are not scrolling on internet. It's just that they are not opening the right tabs.
Yes, they are scrolling the internet, but they are not opening the right tabs. And until unless you do not open the right tabs, it can be a problem for you. So if you want to do something, you have to open the right tab. You have to try to find out the information. You have to collect the data. For example, nobody is going to tell you that Mr. X, there is an opportunity for you. You have to find out the opportunity. Then you have to apply there.
So, what is the next project you are working on?
Actually, now I'm working on small satellites, CubeSats, nanosats, because that's my primary area of interest. So right now I'm working and I'm interested in like mechanical design, mechanical structure, and the system analysis for CubeSat missions, because I have already worked for a French lab in France for 5 months for a satellite project under a French professor, and that was a very learning part for myself. And I was paid by the French government for working there at the lab, so it was a great moment for myself.
Okay, lastly, what do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I try to read about a lot of things, not only related to aerospace. It's all related to cinema, related to art, related to cultures. I like to make travel to places. I like to meet new people. I try to find about history, and I'm very much interested to know that how something existed 100 years ago and what is existing at that same place now. So I try to find out past and present. I try to connect and my hobbies, if you have seen my Facebook, I like to collect postage stamps. That's my hobby. And You wouldn't believe it. I got to learn a lot of new informations related to aeronautics and aerospace because of those small piece of stamps.
Thank you, sir, for being with us. We are very obliged that we got you as our first guest. It's really an honor for me.
Thank you. Thank you for your thank you for the invitation. Thank you. Thank you so much.